Welcome to the Smart Dating Academy podcast. I'm Bella Gandhi, the founder of Smart Dating Academy and your host. I started Smart Dating Academy in 2009 because I had this crazy knack of giving people dating advice that actually worked, that I took. I've been married for almost 25 years, and now my company helps people to date smarter and to find love. This podcast is meant to bring more love into your life, no matter where you are and what you do. And we're here to bring more life into your love. Smart Daters, welcome back to this week's podcast. I am so excited to have one of my favorite people on planet Earth and the universe back on the show. My good friend, prolific author, genius extraordinaire, author of The Love Thief, Arielle Ford. Arielle, welcome back to the Smart Dating podcast. I think you're the first person that's been on this show for the third time. Oh, congratulations.
God. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you're so much fun to be with, and you're so frigging smart. So whoever's listening to this, just whatever she tells you to do, if you're serious, if you really want a relationship, just listen to her, okay? It's really hard stuff. And it's counterintuitive. And if you think you know what you're doing, but you don't listen to Bella, you're going to die alone. So just please listen to her.
I never thought that's what I would get, but I absolutely love this. So I don't even have to reintroduce Arielle with her, genius that she's imparted onto the world. But what's really exciting, Arielle, tell us about The Love Thief and what's happening.
Oh, it's just been incredible. So I wrote 11 nonfiction books in the self-help, love, and relationship area. And then now, 6 years ago, this story started to unfold in my head like a movie. And I could see that it was a novel, and I kept saying, no.
I got the pre-read. I remember you said
I am not going to write a novel, but the story was insistent. So I wrote it. It's called The Love Thief. And it's based on actual events, although names have been changed to protect the guilty and the innocent. And it's the story of a 38-year-old woman who her entire life has been this romantic-filled idea of she wants the picket fence. She wants the tall, dark, and handsome husband with the great sex. And she wants the 2 kids and the golden retriever. And she's 38 and it hasn't happened and it's not looking good. And all she can think about is, do I need to freeze my eggs? And she's just pretty miserable in spite of the fact that her career as a chef has taken off. So anyway, she caters the biggest social gala of the year in San Diego and meets the son of the socialite, who is everything she could have ever hoped for. And on the night they meet, there are fireworks in the sky. And literal fireworks. And the relationship takes off with a bang. And she misses every single red flag. Where's the red flag, Bella?
Right here, girl.
She misses all the red flags, even though the first line of the book is, my mother was right, because Mama did try to tell her. So they have this fantastic romance, and it's everything you could ever imagine.
Everything.
Till it all blows up and falls apart, and her heart is broken and shattered into 10 zillion pieces. And her physical body is broken and shattered because in the midst of all of it, she gets in a terrible car accident, which means her business now falls apart. Everything goes to shit for this woman. And her auntie, who is originally from India, says to her, I was going to give you $10,000 as a wedding gift, but I'm now giving it to you as a pull yourself together, get your life back together gift. And I'm suggesting that you go to India to my cousin's cooking school to heal yourself. And, this girl, Holly, has never thought about going to India. She's not at all spiritual because her mother is a new age baby boomer. So she is a total reaction to that. She doesn't believe in karma, shmarma, whatever. This is
nothing.
Her world, nothing at all. She goes to India and stuff starts to happen. she ends up meeting this bookstore owner who's a former psychologist who becomes the father figure she never
I
had.
love him.
Becomes her mentor and teaches her about life and love and healing. And it's the most beautiful relationship. And then crazy spiritual stuff and mystical stuff starts to happen. So the book is really spirituality through the back door. I'm not preaching at you. It's not a self-help book, but it just tells this gorgeous narrative of what love really is and what it isn't.
All right, friend, what is love and what isn't love? Let's go there.
Right. Well, unfortunately, for most women, they think love is a feeling. They think love is the feeling you have when you're in the state of being in love, which is technically your brain on drugs, on adrenaline and oxytocin and words I can't even pronounce. And what it is, the state of being in love, is what I call the socially acceptable form of insanity.
Yes.
There's no love in being in love because you're doing this with a stranger. It's a stranger that you're having these amazing feelings with.
And think about how we talk about it. Fall in love. When is fall ever good? Crazily in love, madly in love, right? This is a chemical nuclear bomb in your brain that's happening, that's giving you these feelings, right? It's like lust.
It's the world's greatest drug high. It's great, but it is not love, because what true, mature adult love is, and I will say there are lots of good feelings that come with this. They're just not, your drugs. They're not those, is a behavior.
Yes.
It's a choice. It's an action. It's a decision. It's a way of being. And the good feelings will come and go, because anybody who is married to their life partner and they love them also has days, weeks, or months where they hate their guts. And it doesn't mean that you don't love them. So when you're looking to have this life partner come into your life, you can't do it from your feelings. Now, yes, if you're on a date and they totally gross you out, don't go on a second date. But if they don't gross you out, give them a second and a third chance if they're sharing your values and, the big picture for your life, and really get to know them, which is a slow process. If it's happening fast, where's that red flag? If everything's being really fast and they're whispering in your ear everything you ever wanted to hear, baby, you're being love bombed. And love bombed is never good.
Absolutely. And Disney teaches us this. Society teaches us this, right? This is Bollywood, Hollywood. This is how love is supposed to be, but it's not, right? I mean, and you might find a guy who will give you flowers on the third date, and you might think, oh my God, am I being love bombed? This has happened to my clients before. I said, probably not. If a truckload of flowers ends up and he's trying to basically just razzle dazzle you, then you can have the conversation and use your voice and say, wow, this is really thoughtful, but it sort of feels like a lot. And where you will look at this person is in his response to that. If he freaks out and says, what the hell are you talking about? I can't believe you didn't appreciate this. You know how many women would die for me to do something like this to them? That is a red flag.
And gaslighting.
And gaslighting. And if this guy says, oh my gosh, you know what? I've been following some other, books or whatever that have told me to do this, and women like chivalry and they like to feel taken care of. I'm so sorry that this felt like a lot. It felt like a lot to me too, but I wasn't sure what to do. That's someone that has a very reasonable, measured response, right? So it's in these little decision points of dating that you can decide, is this person love bombing me like our villain in the book? I'm not going to give too much away, or not, right? It's learning to use your voice and looking at the person's response.
Yes, exactly. I know I've had several readers say to me, I hated him on page one, which was the whole idea, but learning to really, of course, love yourself is important, but you don't have to love yourself to find love. Because I hear so many of the self-love teachers out there, oh, there's no possibility for real love or relationship till you love yourself. All of us have a critical chorus in our head, and you can turn the volume down a little, but they're never leaving you. They're never going away, ever, ever, no matter how much you weigh or how much money you make, they're never going away. So it's not about, oh, I don't love, when I love myself more, then I can have love. The truth is, there is somebody out there, maybe several somebodies, and they're looking for you as much as you're looking for them. But as long as you're like putting up roadblocks everywhere or staying home watching reality TV, they can't find you. And then that's on you.
Oh, I love that so much. That's so true. My God, something came into my head and I wanted to ask you as you were saying that. I was so deeply engrossed in what you were saying that the question just fell out of my head. But I'm sure it's going to come back to me.
It happens to me all the time. But here's what
the menopause brain fog.
I'm way past menopause, honey. And let me tell you, it's the greatest. The actual menopause section isn't so hot, but when you get to the other side and it's all over, you will be so happy. Now, I forgot what I was going to tell you. Yes, there are so many good men out there. There are really good men out there, but you got to give them a chance. You got to give them a fair shot. And I used to coach this one woman who I said, what do you think your problem is? And she said, well, I have a lot of first dates, almost no second dates. And is that because they didn't ask or because you didn't go? She said, oh, it's because I won't go. Because if I don't really feel something on the first date, I'm not going to go on a second date. I said, but you don't even know them. And most guys are really nervous on the first date. Their best self isn't showing up. I said, I'll only work with you if you promise to go on 3 dates with every guy unless you can tell me why he grossed you out. So she agreed. And she was calling me right before the start of a third date. And she's like, I really don't want to go. He's a nice guy, but he's 2 inches shorter than what I want. And he's, $100,000 off of income of what I'm hoping for. And he's sweet and he's a good guy, but I'm just not feeling it on any level. And I said, just go, have an open mind, look for the green flags, like what's so good about him. Anyway, he's now driving her home. And he slams on the brakes. She's like this, and because the car in front of him hit a dog and then drove away. And he says to her, get on your phone, find the closest emergency vet. He gets out of the car, picks up the dog, puts the dog in the back seat, goes to the emergency vet. Thank God the dog is chipped. He gets the owner's name and phone number, and the vet says, oh, it's just a broken leg. I'll go set it. He calls the number, it's a woman, and he says, listen, you don't know me. My name's such and such. I'm at the vet with Cooper. Don't worry, it's just a broken leg. I'm going to bring him home to you. And of course, she falls madly in love with him because she just saw who he really is. And they've been married now for 10 years and have 2 kids. This is what can happen if you give them a chance.
Oh my gosh, this reminds me of a story of one of my clients named Ann Jane, who worked with us. She lived in the South, of course, got 2 names. And she started our process, and she knew she was looking for an elevated person with no red flags, and she was pacing things right. And she's like, I know. She went on a couple dates with this guy. And she said, I know what you're going to tell me. He's an elevator person so far. I'm going to keep dating him. And so she said, Bella, I'm going to go on a 5th date with him. Now, she was Catholic, but he seemed to be quite Catholic, more Catholic than he was. So we nickname a lot of people. So we called him the Pope. So she was going on the 5th date with the Pope. She's like, I don't know. So after the 5th date, she calls me and she says, so I get to the date with the Pope, and he said, listen, I might. He's like, I'm so sorry. We've got some stuff going on at work. And she knew he had a corporate job. That if my phone rings and I see this number, I'm going to have to take the call. But I just want you to know, like, I wouldn't normally do this. Please, apologies in advance. She's like, no worries. So, of course, 30 minutes into the date, the phone rings and he said, here it is. He answers the phone and she hears the Pope turn into this commanding, directive, empathic CEO type. And she was like, oh my God. I said, how do you feel? She said, I think I like the Pope.
That's right. You got to take your time. Let them show up. See them in lots of different ways. Don't be in a hurry.
And ladies, to that point, there's many things that can spark physical chemistry. We talk about chemistry. There's emotional chemistry. There's intellectual chemistry. There's spiritual chemistry. When you give someone, like uncorking a bottle of wine, when you let this person breathe and you say yes, if there are no red flags, you never know when you're going to have a Pope moment or the emergency vet moment. So if you're having fun with this person, the conversations are easy, but you're not feeling the cocaine drug addiction in your brain yet, that's okay. Let's see if that attraction can spark longer term. It doesn't have to be there right away, especially for women. Physical attraction can grow.
Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely. And you can also find ways to spark it when it starts to fade, but that's another conversation for another day.
Oh, I was like, let's go there. Let me ask you this. In this book and just overall, a lot of people talk about happiness, and happiness is the goal. Kind of tell us your thoughts about why you think that is or isn't the right goal for humans.
Yeah, I thought about this a lot because I was a miserable 20-something, and I was on tricyclic antidepressant, those drugs, whatever. I was a mess. And I decided to study happiness and to study happy people because I wanted to be happy. And it worked. It's a long story, but it worked. And then I realized one day that happiness is dependent on people, places, things, and experiences. So if I want the new car and I get the new car, I'm happy I have the new car until I wreck the new car. Or if I want the new guy, I'm happy I got the new guy. And then all of a sudden, things go bad and I find out that he's a jerk and he's married and whatever. Now I'm not happy anymore. So I came across this word several years ago, and it's called santosha. And santosha is the Sanskrit word that means utter contentment. And when you embody utter contentment, it is not dependent on anything except the choice to be content, regardless of whether things are good or things are bad. So I've been aspiring for the last several years to be utter contentment. I had this rock made on Etsy. It says Santosha, utter contentment, because I wanted more than happiness. I wanted to wake up every day and choose the life that I have, regardless of the circumstances. And that, of course, has been really useful in the last several years because I became a caregiver unwittingly. My sister was dying of cancer. My mother got dementia. My husband had a stroke. And I was the person in the middle
for
spinning
everybody,
all the plates, and I had to keep choosing to do that, even though, did I want to do it? No. Was it hard? It was crazy hard. Am I happy that everybody's either dead or better? Yes. Yes, I am, because we're all feeling better. But so Santosha for me is the way to go. And happiness is great. Listen, I'm a pleasure pig. I like pleasure more than anybody. And I understand that I will have good days and bad days, and I will make the best of the bad days.
I love that. And yes, that is, I can imagine my Indian mother using the word santosh, right? Is how she says it. We're Gujarati. And it's like, are you fulfilled? Are you content? And it's very different than happiness, which is fleeting. And it's more about peace.
Yes, it is totally about peace and grace and compassion for yourself and for others. You know, it's a wonderful thing. So this is one of the teachings that Holly gets in The Love Thief. Her I call him her love walla. You know, his name is Deepak, and I chose that name not because Deepak Chopra is my friend, which he is, but because Deepak's my favorite Indian name, and it's like the word John in India. Everybody's named Deepak, and so that's why I gave him that name. And he's constantly teaching her about love and connection and family and what's important, and most importantly, how to get over a broken heart, because she is so shattered when she arrives in his bookstore, and he is able to help her through it. And what she doesn't know is that she is healing him, because he's still grieving the loss of his wife, and he hasn't been able to let go of it. So by the end of the book, it's just magical. It has a surprise ending. It has a really beautiful ending, and I'm not going to give it away.
It's so good, you guys. I read this book, I don't, what was it, a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
When did it first come out?
Yeah, year and a half ago, you got it. Yeah, you were one of my early readers.
Oh my gosh, obsessed. And you were on the show talking about it. And now it's being, how do we call it? Is it re-released?
It's being,
Now
yes.
have a publisher.
So I initially self-published it because I didn't want to wait for a big publisher to drag how long it takes to get a book out. And so Hay House found the book. They're part of Penguin Random House, one of the big 5 publishers. A couple of their authors sent the book in and said, hey, we really like this book. And they said, hey, we'd like to put a new cover on it and redo it. And I was like, yeah, that works for me. And they've made an audio book, which I hadn't done. So it's all very exciting. The actual pub date is July 22nd. But here's the cool thing. I have a pre-order campaign going on. So if you go to thelovethief.com right now, you'll get all these bonuses when you pre-order. One of them is the chance to win a 10-day tour of India for 2. There's another one that has 9 yoga videos where 9 of the world's top yoga teachers, people like Sean Korn, each do a lesson on how to heal heartbreak or anger or grief or shame using yoga.
Wow.
And then I'm going to be doing a live Zoom with 3 of our friends, Evan Mark Katz, Carol Allen, and Ken Page, Ask Us Anything Love Zoom. And each of us will be have a door prize of win an hour consult with us. So all of those are there for free. And if you pre-order today, you'll get instant access to read the book through NetGalley, a PDF version of it. So go to thelovethief.com. Help me make my dreams come true.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And all of you, it's a great book. I literally didn't want to put it down when I was reading it, and it will give you all the feels. So, Ariel, in the time we have left, tell us your story of how you met Brian.
Wow. Okay, so it was 27 years ago this week that we got married. And we met because I woke up one morning. I was 43 years old. I was lying in bed by myself, and I had this epiphany, which was like, oh my God, I forgot to get married. And I started thinking about like what happened. And I had built this very successful business. And I thought, well, how did I do that? And I made a list, 9-page list of all the conscious manifestation things I did to build my business. And then I started rewriting it on how to manifest a soulmate. And in a relatively short period of time, we ended up meeting at a business meeting. And the moment we met, we both knew. Everybody who was in the room with us knew. He proposed 3 weeks later. I said, yes. However, we're not getting married for a year because I don't know you. right?
And I have to make sure my brain's not on cocaine right now.
It was on massive drugs, and tequila, it was like, it was there, but I also knew in my bones that it was right, but I didn't know him and I was not going to marry somebody I didn't know. So I said, we need to spend a year getting to know each other, which we did. And then we had 3 weddings. So our first wedding, we were married by the holy woman, Amaji, the hugging saint. So there were 3,000 people we didn't know at our wedding.
Wow.
Our second wedding, the rock star Kenny Loggins was a client of mine back then. He got ordained as a minister, so he was our officiant and our wedding singer.
I didn't know that.
Yes, we got married in Santa Barbara.
That's so cool.
It was very cool. And then our third wedding, I had another client who was an attorney, but also the high priestess of Wicca from Manhattan. So she did a pagan hand fasting on the top of a mountain for us. So we had 3 weddings in that summer. And now it's 27 years later, and he's still really one of the most fascinating people I've ever come across. And I ended up writing about these kinds of books, not because I thought, I should become a love expert, because I needed to. After Brian and I met, all these single women saying, well, I want to do what you did. So that became one book. And then once I got married, I discovered I had no partnership skills. I knew nothing about being a partner. And then I became a student of love and started writing books for other people about, how to turn your mate into your soulmate and wabi sabi love and some of those sort of things. So everything I've done is really out of desperation, of needing to know how to do it and finding stuff that really works.
That's amazing. And if you could give our listeners, what did you clearly knew how to pick a partner. You met Brian and you gave it a year and you're like, okay, this is great. You sealed the deal. What would you tell women who maybe wonder to themselves, am I a good partner?
Yeah, see, I never asked myself that question. I was just looking out there, like, what's he bringing to the party? Not what am I bringing to the party?
Right.
And now I realize that I should have known that stuff. I mean, I guess in retrospect, it's good that I didn't because I had this whole career out of it. But I think it's really important to realize how a man chooses a woman. And I did a lot of studying on this. And for the most part, they choose you not on how you look or on your bank account or any of that. They're really interested on how they feel about themselves around you, which means, do you respect them? Are you, what's the word?
Do you admire them?
Yes, they want to be admired and they want to be listened to. And if you have a big career, do you make time for them, right? Or are you just, written into the schedule, going out to dinner, but then you spend the whole time talking about your career and their day and all of that. So they're looking for love, respect, and partnership. And can you provide that? And chances are, if your whole focus has been on you and your career, the thing that you excel at is being the boss. But that is not what an alpha male is looking for.
Or any male, right? And that's
right.
not what a partner is, a boss.
Well, there are some beta guys that, really would like someone who's going to take charge and run the ship and let them be artistic. They could be some kind of a creative, and they really need someone who provides that kind of structure for them. So it's not that it's impossible, but you have to be like, so many of the women that I used to coach would come to me, oh, well, he's got to make more money than me and he's got to have a bigger degree than me. And, chances are you could have somebody who has really special talent, but they didn't go to college, right? And they're not going to make the kind of money you make. And are you willing to share your money? I have this conversation with women you would think are smarter than this. It's like, no, he's got to have more money than me. It's like, honey, you're in the 1/2 of 1%, and the guys that have that kind of money and you're, 57, they're not looking for you. Now, there may be one or two, but you're going to have a hard time finding them. Find somebody that you can make happy and they can make you happy so that you can both be as happy as you want to be.
And it broadens the net and it makes dating so much more fun when you're not looking at money as a scorecard.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, the money conversation is hard. Bella, I'm so sorry, but you're having so much fun and I have to go.
You need to record another show. So, Ariel, we will put all the links to your pre-sale order. Sorry for this cold.
Yeah.
And it'll all be in the show notes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited for you and for this huge accomplishment of writing this nonfiction book that you self-published.
No, it is fiction.
Fiction. You did nonfiction forever.
Yeah.
You wrote fiction for the first time.
Crazy.
And it found its way grassroots up to a publisher. Congratulations. You were spectacular. One of my favorite people. Smart Daters. I hope you'll start reading The Love Thief and stop being a love thief for yourself. Make the changes you need to make in your dating life and schedule a consultation with us. Until next time, I will see you later.